Having a political conversation can feel equivalent to navigating through a tornado for many individuals. Our present research focuses on how having a politically charged conversation can increase physiological aspects like increased heart rate. Influenced by previous research suggesting that having a political conversation can lead to matters such as anxiety, fear of judgment, mistrust, or even fear, we decided to examine further. The objectives of our study suggested the hypothesis of 3 main points. 1. The heart rate will significantly increase in the political group, but not the control group. 2. Negative effect will significantly increase in the political group, but not the control group. And 3. The positive effect will significantly decrease in the political group, but not the control group.
In this study, 26 University of Massachusetts Dartmouth undergraduate students ranging from the ages of 18 to 25 participated. The distribution of males to females in this study was 21 females and 5 males. Right below that, you'll see pie charts with distributions of political affiliation and level of political engagement. These show that the majority of people identified as either a Democrat or an independent. And then for levels of political engagement, around 42% of people said that they were moderately involved in politics. For the instruments that were used during this study, we used a series of 4 videos, 2 of them being politically charged videos and 2 of them being pop culture videos. We also used the positive and negative effect schedule, also known as the PANIS, which is a self-report measure that consists of 20 items. 10 items focus on positive effect. An example of this would be something like excited, and the other 10 focus on negative affect, which is something like upset or guilty. And then for the third instrument that we used, it was a simple demographic questionnaire. We got information such as age, gender, political affiliation, and level of political engagement. The fourth instrument we used was the Fitbit Charge 3, and this was to measure heart rate in beats per minute. On the left side of the poster, under experimental procedure, you'll see a quick timeline that details the path taken during the study. It's important to note that in this study, the independent variable was group, which is split between the political group and the control group, or the pop culture group, and that the main dependent variable was heart rate, measured in beats per minute, and the secondary dependent variable was stress, measured by the positive affect part of the PANIS and also the negative affect part of the PANIS. For the general timeline of the study, we started by giving the participant the consent form to fill out. The participant was then given a PANIS form to fill out, followed by the experimenter strapping a Fitbit onto the participant's right wrist and waiting 2 minutes to measure a baseline heart rate. After the baseline heart rate was measured, participants were randomized into either the political or control group. Both groups were tasked with watching a video and then answering a series of questions and repeating that process again. So it is video, questions, video, questions. For the political group, an example of one of the controversial political videos that was showed to the politics group was a ICE raid in Virginia. And a question would be like, why do you care? Why does this matter to you at all? Should you even care? For the pop culture group, an example of one of the videos would be Ariana posing for a picture, and then one of the questions would be like, how do you feel about Ariana Grande? After the completion of the task, the experimenter did another measure of heart rate using the Fitbit, and then the participant filled out another PANIS form, and finally filled out the demographic questionnaire. When analyzing our data, we use independent samples t-tests. For heart rate, it was found that there was a significant difference between groups, which showed that for the political group, there was a significant increase in heart rate, while for the control group, there was not a significant increase in heart rate. For the stress variable, it was measured that before the task, there was a significant difference between groups for both the positive PANIS affect score and the negative PANIS affect score. This is especially interesting because after their task, there was no significant difference between groups for both the PANAS positive affect score and the PANAS negative affect score.
Our study showed that being involved or engaged during a political conversation can in fact have an influence or effect on the physiological changes that a person can experience while having this conversation. In this case, this physiological change being increased heart rate. However, the study showed that there was no difference between the behavioral aspects of each individual or the behavioral variables. In this case, this behavioral variable being stress. However, we did find some significant differences between the level of stress that each group experienced even before the task was given to each group, which can potentially have affected the results of the study. Some of the limitations that we came across while doing or performing this study were the small sample size. We only had 26 participants. Another limitation was the Fitbit as a way to measure heart rate, since it can sometimes be inaccurate. And the last limitation that we came across was timing, since we only had 20 minutes to perform the study with each participant. Future directions that could be taken into consideration or that can be included if performing this study again are to include different age groups and other variables, such as medical conditions like high blood pressure, individuals who suffer from high blood pressure, and different personality traits as well.